Happy Sunday, Tampa Bay. We're with you for another week to talk about the local real estate market. I have David Diaz from Waterstone Mortgage on with me today, and we've got a lot to get to today. And I want to make sure to remind you to check out all of our social channels. When we aren't on air, you can see videos from our radio show. You can also see us retweeting and posting, relevant real estate information from other sources on all of them. We're on Twitter at The Duncan Duo, Instagram at The Duncan Duo, YouTube.com/The Duncan Duo, and then Facebook, we're The Duncan Duo Show. So we'd love to have you check us out on all of our social channels so we can keep you updated on what's going on in the market. And, always posting relevant information, not just from our show, but stuff we see in the market, hot new homes on the market, and a lot of different things that we see. So I wanted to start off the show today talking about, renovation. And we run into this a lot where we have customers that are debating either keeping their existing home and renovating it or adding on to it, or buying a new, more expensive home, or even buying a lower priced home and spending money or doing a renovation loan and renovating it. And wanted to spend a few minutes talking about this. Zillow had an article this week that talked about 3 reasons to live in a new home before renovating it. And I think first and foremost, even when you renovate a home, especially if you're renovating an older home, it's still an older home. Mm-hmm. You can upgrade the kitchen, but you're still going to have old aspects to it. Whereas a new home, you don't have any of that. You have new construction, new code, new permitting. It's safer. Your insurance is lower. But the renovation process, I think, is something that a lot of people that haven't done it before kind of underestimated. It's for I call it. It's not for the meek.
Right.
And in my experience, living in a home that was being renovated and added onto, it is a nuisance.
Now, you lived in it while it was being renovated?
Yeah, but we've done that before and had an addition done. And I can tell you, it's just a nuisance. I mean, you've got an invasion in your privacy for however long it's going to happen. You got people coming and going. You don't really know the schedule of them coming and going. You don't really know them. And not only that, but it can be, you're in a lot of instances, especially if you already own the home, you're looking at paying for those renovations, out of pocket with cash instead of being able to buy a newer, bigger home that's already kind of turnkey and done. So, sometimes people will say, oh, we can add on to our home and we love our home. And I think they underestimate the path that you have to go down.
I think that's a good point. I mean, if you're actually thinking about living in it while the renovations are going on, I mean, that's 2 different animals. We just had a coworker. And he did it right. He lived in his other home that he had while the renovations were going on, so that he didn't have to deal with the day in day out nuisance of it. But you really got to think about it. I mean, depending on what you're able to do, are you still able to live somewhere else while the renovations are going on? If that's the case, if not, you may want to delay it for a little bit and just see exactly what you need.
And I think one other thing to keep in mind is that when you buy the new home, for example, and you move into it, you've got a pretty good understanding of what your fixed costs are. You're buying it, you're moving into it, you know what it costs. When you're renovating or adding on, not only do you not have control over the cost, because there's always something that they find, there's always something you decide to add on that changes your budget, but the timing scenario too, because in my experience, a contractor would say, hey, we're going to be done in 6 weeks, and it would take 9 or 10. So I think in our company now, we almost always, just as a rule of thumb, if a contractor gives you a day line, I add 50% to it. They say 6 weeks, I'm like, okay, 9 weeks.
Especially when considering an old home, you don't know what you're going to find once you start doing some work. So you may find something else that really needs its attention because you've kind of uncovered a problem. So you need to budget the time and the money aspect of it.
Well, because then, like you said, if you're somebody who doesn't have a lot of cash, you're going to have to spend the cash on the renovation in most instances, especially after you've purchased it if you're looking to do it now. Now, there are renovation loans that you guys do where you can do it all up front if you buy the home that needs fixed up, where you can have it renovated and you're not coming out of pocket cash. That's something that's an option, right?
Correct. And how that would work is basically you find the home that you want to make a contract offer on, but then you also get a contractor to go out there beforehand, basically itemize the list of items that are going to be done, and then you finance that all in together. So it's all done, it's all going to be in the mortgage, rather than you do the mortgage, you're making the mortgage payments, and you're paying cash out of pocket.
And there are ways to get lines of credit for renovations, and you can do refinances for renovations, but it can be, it can certainly be costly and challenging too. I think another thing to think about is just quality of life. I mean, when you buy a home, you want to live in it, you want to enjoy it. I can tell you from experience that you know, again, when you buy that home and you're having renovations done, it's really hard to enjoy it because there's just a lot of interruptions. You really just, you might as well just expect that you're going to have 3 or 4 people living with you, because that's what it feels like. And you know, so if you really are excited to buy a home for the enjoyment of it, the privacy, you know, your life, that sort of thing, and you're going to renovate it, we'll just basically expect the enjoyment to begin after the renovation is completed.
Right. Well, you almost get 2 first days, you know, if you do wait a little bit. You know, you get
Right.
the first initial excitement buying the home. Now you're in it for you know, a little while, and then if you decide to renovate, you know, down the road, then you get a new first day after that.
Right.
So
Well, and I think you know there's some other considerations too when you're looking at this, and I think again when you're renovating an older home, it's still an older home. It doesn't have, you know, like I said earlier, it doesn't have all the benefits of a newer home that's already upgraded. It's already got all those things that you want. And that's kind of one of the things to look at too, is that the overall cost savings of a new home versus, you know, renovating an existing home. I think, you know, and again, I'm certainly for renovating homes, like specifically buying rental properties or flipping real estate or buying homes that you don't live in. And I think it's probably different if you're renovating it yourself. Like if you're redoing your kitchen yourself, you're redoing your counters or your cabinets yourself, that's a little different because there's just kind of a pride of joy, and you don't really have people traipsing through your house. It's, you know, so I mean, there's ways to do it, and certainly that doesn't mean you can't have renovations done. It's just you know, kind of a rule of thumb that it can be a nuisance. But yeah, as far as buying, you know, investment property and rental property and fixer uppers and all that. You know, my concern is really renovating them while you're living in them, because it can be, like I said, it can be a struggle.
well, let's be honest too. I mean, there's only so many new homes available.
Correct,
So,
especially in certain parts of town. Like if you're looking at South Tampa, obviously there are some new homes out there that you can buy, but there's a lot of older existing homes too that you're looking at.
Right. Just an idea to the people. You know, I mean, renovations are a great thing. I mean, people have done tremendous things. I mean, you walk in some of these homes and it's like, oh my gosh, you know, this is walking straight into 1970.
Yeah. Right.
So it needs some renovations
Sure.
and whatnot, and that's fine. Just, you know, just budget. You need to budget your time, budget your money a little bit accordingly, because you just never know what you're going to find.
Right, and so again, I think that's kind of the moral of the story.